Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. I hope that's what you're doing. I certainly do. Let's get the business stuff out of the way. If you would like to work with me in any way, shape, or form, all of that information is in the drop box below, including any one of my 3 channel memberships. As I always say, I highly encourage you to take a look at the Advanced Manifestors. That's what I coin as my VIP group. The Advanced Manifestors are the group that is going to deep dive manifestation as a whole. Whether that's reading a book, reading a lecture, deep diving our understanding, expanding our awareness, rising in consciousness. That's what that VIP group does, including having access, automatic free access to the other channel memberships, like my exclusive lives channel membership. The exclusive lives is where we have success stories and tips and tricks only. It is a zhuzh group. It's a good time. Sometimes it's a sassy good time. We have all different conversations in that group. If you want to be uplifted, you will love the exclusive lives group. I want to also mention the Hot Seat group, which that VIP Advanced Manifestors has access to that as well. The Hot Seat group is where you can get into the hot seat and ask me anything you want about your circumstances. That group comes with a trigger warning because sometimes we talk about circumstances. So you are forewarned with that one. But I will tell you that there are plenty of times where the success stories come to the Hot Seat group as well, because we have people all over the world and sometimes they can't make the later exclusive lives group. So I encourage you to do that, not to mention you get a percentage off on coaching. Thank you very much. Now, aside from that, I have TikTok, Clapper, and Instagram. And if you are on my TikTok, you've noticed we're a little more active over there. We're back to daily uploads on the TikTok. So come back and visit us. All right, so let's get something straight right out of the gate. You are pure, unadulterated consciousness. You are source. This isn't something that we want to think about once or twice and then move on with our life and forget and get entangled with the life in our 3D again. Because it's not difficult to get entangled again. And quite frankly, the only time we feel bad is when we are entangled in our circumstances. Now, listen, keeping it real. Of course we get entangled with our 3D. That's how we're experiencing physical reality. So yeah, we're going to get entangled. That's to be expected. That might sound like a limiting belief, but it's to be expected. It's what we're conditioned to do. Yes, we are all waking up and rising in consciousness. We are reaching higher states of consciousness, but you still experience the physical. You still experience 3D reality. Knowing full well that 3D reality is your reflection. You're experiencing reflection. How you perceive that reflection is dependent on who you are from moment to moment. Who you are experiencing reality as, right? What's the description of yourself when you talk about your I am? I am who? I am what? Which is what we're doing from moment to moment, whether we are aware that we're doing it or not. You are not separate from your desires. I'm hoping at this point in your journey, this is something that you have heard a million times. If not, let me be the reminder. You are not separate from what you want. That's impossible. It's impossible. Why is that impossible? Because we are all consciousness. We are all connected in consciousness. That consciousness, your I amness, is God, is source, or whatever you want to call it. Universe, higher power, source, energy, moonbeams. the all that is, the absolute. You are that. Experiencing reality through your avatar, through your acting role. My acting role is Kimberly. So I show up to reality and experience the physical through Kimberly. And from there, I'm choosing a version of myself. I'm deciding what comes after I am from moment to moment, just like you. When I've mentioned that you're not separate from your desires, it is so incredibly important to remember you're not begging anything or anyone outside of you to give you your desires. You can feel like you are, though. You can have days where it feels like all you want to do is beg God to finally let something change in reality. And I'm not picking on you for that. But I know that you have forgotten who you are in moments like that. And all I mean by that is the state you're embodying in that moment, who you are aware of being in that one little moment. That version of you is who's begging God. Because that version of you has forgotten again. And I'm using the again really heavily. Because you're entangled into circumstances. You're believing the illusion again. You're forgetting that your awareness is in complete and utter control at every given moment. And it is a choice. But sometimes we need something to wake us back up. Right? Just like we need an alarm. Some of us do. Need an alarm in the morning to wake us up. To get us out of the dreaming. The other realities. Got to bring it back to our attention. I like to use signals. My signals are my body. How it's feeling. The sensations I'm having. Because through conditioning, we would label those feelings. Right? If I would get a certain type of stomach ache, if I would feel a certain sensation across the top of my chest, I would equate that to stress, nervousness, anxiety. Well, those three things, when I'm feeling the sensations of those in those moments, what is that? That must be a signal that I am unhappy with something in my life. I can't tell you how many times that I have experienced the sensations that I am conditioned to believe must mean I'm feeling some type of way, because I would have to sit and think, what am I stressed about? Wait. What am I upset about? What area of my life is not good? As I'm analyzing all the different areas of my life, like, oh, that's right. I'm supposed to be upset about this thing. I'm mad. I'm mad at this. I'm upset because a specific person hasn't contacted me in 70,000 years. I forgot. That's right. I'm stressed. Let me go back to being stressed. So when you are feeling that, when you're noticing the signals, we're going to label them new things. We're going to decide those signals, oh, they're old habits. They're old habits from one of the many versions of myself. They don't have to be true for me anymore. I don't have to believe any story that's connected to the feelings, to the sensations. I don't have to automatically accept that. I don't have to automatically assume I'm really sad or depressed or unhappy, unfulfilled. I can tell a new story. I can decide I'm whoever I want to be. Why can I do that? Because you're source, because I'm source. I am consciousness. I am more than the limited physical 3D human I have believed momentarily that I was. Knowing yourself as source is not an ego flex. It's not, oh my God, I'm going to take over the world. No, it's, hey, that comes with a little responsibility, a little accountability. I can't push and point my fingers to anybody else anymore. I can't blame outside things as my problems anymore. I'm not going to go back to a victim mentality, because I know that what I focus on, what or who I keep assuming that I am, is what I'm going to experience in 3D reality. I'm source, and I am the only cause. I am source of what I experience. And how easy is it for us to forget that? Which is why what? We use the signals. We use the alarm clock, our body sensations and feelings. This reminder of who you are is just trying to point out to you that this isn't going to be something we affirm once to ourselves and then we just pay no attention to it anymore. No, knowing yourself as God is every single thing. It is the most important thing about your entire manifestation journey, because it's your reset button. It's how we reset or recenter ourselves when we're falling off, when we're falling asleep, or when we're entangled in our 3D again. No, I am source. I am God. If you're uncomfortable with saying I am God, you got to ask yourself why, but you can word it in all different ways. God is within me. God has given me the ability to be any self I want to be. Reset, reset. When you're frustrated with your specific person, when you're frustrated with reality, whoa, I am source. Automatic reset button. Automatic. It's not about the outside. It's not about them. It's not about the specific person. It's about me. Who am I? And bearing in mind that you truly are all versions of yourself at every given moment. Flash, 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 like a strobe light flashing. That's how quickly we can change and be any version of ourselves. And your awareness is dictating which self is being highlighted in that moment. So we need that reset button. We need to be aware when we're falling into the old paradigm, when we're falling in and trusting and believing what the 3D is showing us. As we often hear in this community, your 3D is a reflection. The 3D is the mirror. You know what phrase I don't like? Your 3D is feedback. And quite frankly, I don't like it because I'm having the assumption, limited belief, that when we hear feedback, we mean in that moment, that's who we are. So for example, if you're experiencing unfavorable circumstances in your love department and you're currently manifesting a specific person and you're told, oh, the 3D is my feedback. Well, I don't like my feedback. This isn't great. I'm not experiencing what I want. I'm not being contacted. So that's my feedback. Oh God, that's who I am. Does that feel good? Oh God, I am the version of self that isn't experiencing what I want. I'm not in the relationship I want to be. That's the feedback, so that's who I am. No. Hell to the no, no, no. That's who you were. That's not who you are. That's not who I am. And your belief about that phrase, I am, is important. So this is not just mere feedback. How you perceive yourself, how you perceive your world is the feedback. If you know that you're walking around perceiving reality as not favorable, that's who you are. So for example, you could be experiencing, you know my air quotes, no contact. We all know no contact is not real. You are always in constant connection with your specific person, so it's not real, but we call it real for quiet time, right? If you're experiencing no contact, that's what you are perceiving in reality. We're not talking. It's quiet. But at the same time, You are in the awareness that the quiet doesn't mean it stays quiet. The quiet doesn't mean I've stopped being in connection with my person. That quiet isn't even bothering me. It's not catching my attention, per se. I'm not afraid of it. I don't see it as this is my forever. I see it as everything I'm experiencing, everything that I'm experiencing in reality is a part of me having that manifestation or having me as the self who I want to be, the version of you in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. If I know and believe and can view reality as every single thing I experience is in somehow, some way a part of me being the self I want to be, I don't care what's happening. I don't care what's happening in reality. That's a totally different version, isn't it? That's a completely different identity versus I'm noticing it's quiet. I'm noticing the no contact. Oh my God, how much longer is this going to happen? Oh my God, how much longer until they finally reach out to me? Oh my God, how long has it been that we haven't talked? Two totally different versions of yourself. Two completely different identities. So we don't want to claim anything in reality against ourselves. We don't want to give it that label. I have said before, and I got well over 1,100 videos, your authenticity to yourself is everything on this journey. Because if you're unwilling to be honest with yourself on what you're really thinking about yourself from moment to moment, are we really going to change? Probably not. And by change, I just mean which version of self you are aware of being. You got to be honest with yourself. If in this moment you're not feeling really favorable about what you're manifesting, why? Who are you identifying as? Who's driving the car? See, we don't have to be afraid of feelings and emotions. We don't have to assume we're automatically in a negative state because we're noticing I'm irritated about something today. Unless, of course, we believe that must mean we're immediately out of the state. This is why staying aware, as Vadim Zeland would say, being the keeper of the mind or observing the observer. That is why, sincerely, that's all you ever really need to do to manifest, is to observe the observer, meaning the you, the real you, the true self. What is the true self observing? Who's really your identity? Which version of you is experiencing reality? Now, yeah, sometimes it might not be the greatest version of you. It might not be the state you want to be in. That's why we got the reset button. Hit that reset. Wait a minute. I am source. I am God. Or God is within me. I'm pure, unadulterated consciousness first. Which self am I being right now? Or simply, I am. Finish that sentence. If you're manifesting a specific person, I am the version of self in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. That's who I am. That's who I am. And that's who I'm staying as. Be a little sassy. I'm sassy. That's who I am. And nothing and no one else can move me from this state other than me, other than myself. Not circumstances, not people in reality. No one else runs this show but me. This is why knowing yourself as source, as God, as the universe, as the one with all that is, whatever you want to call it, that's why it matters. That's why it's important. That's why it's your free automatic reset button. to remember which self from there you're choosing to experience reality through. Remember, your state is your filter. So we don't automatically assume a bad day has to mean you are an unfavorable version of yourself. Your perception of reality is your guide. It's your guide to let you know which self is driving the wheel. Only one version of you drives the wheel. And sometimes we switch out the driver 1,000,000 times a day. But coming back to the observer, recentering yourself. It helps me to close my eyes when I do it. I'm not saying you have to, but it helps me. That's how I shut out the world. That's my idea of shutting out reality, quieting the mind, and thinking about who's really driving the vehicle. And I choose. I choose with my I am awareness. So who's driving your vehicle? Which self are you? And don't answer that based on what you may or may not be seeing in reality. You answer that internally. Put it in the comments below. I want to know what self you are. And remember, this is how we manifest. We become aware of being. We know ourselves as source, and we choose. And we're always choosing, whether we believe that or not. We're choosing. Think of each version of you that's driving the wheel has a backpack. And that backpack is all the beliefs connected to that version of yourself. So what backpack are we lugging around? Hopefully it's the backpack of you having every single thing you want. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow. Poop. Lazy bitch. Do you hear her story? That is how bored she is of anybody being in an unfavorable state.